Hello.
Hey, lovely.
Hello, dear.
How art thou?
I am good.
Yay.
I'm good. I like your hair.
Why, thank you.
This is the new fall look.
This is my fall look. I'll probably take it into the winter, maybe even
Yeah,
spring.
I love
Yeah,
it.
because I'm trying to, not trying to, I'm getting back my discipline with my gym. Did I talk about that last week with the gym and working out because I'm an avid exerciser, but the pandemic kind of had me.
Mm-hmm.
And having a mother with cancer that needed extra support, I kind of let myself go.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
with the increased amount of gym time
Mhm.
and thing to be like on for interviews and podcasts
Should I
and
take this cardigan off or keep it on?
I like it. I think it complements well. It like plays off your hair and
Okay.
the
A little
line. And
layer.
yeah. It looks like you
Okay.
matched it to your eyeshadow.
I did. I little add a little bit purple. I think this side has a little too much.
I can't tell. It looks good. I'm liking the
Oh my
energy.
God, did I not put liner on? I think I only put
I
shadow and did not put liner.
I can't listen. It looks good.
Okay.
I noticed. It looks good.
Okay, you ready?
Energy. Yeah, your energy is great.
Thank you. Welcome to the Art and Hustle Gallery Conversations. Welcome here to our weekly inspiring conversations with Doc Sun, my beautiful friend and soul. So, uh, what is on your mind today?
Oh boy, what is not on our minds today?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the holidays, right?
Well, we started a little bit because we like to just jump in. I was complimenting you on your hair, so you were telling me that you're getting,
Oh yeah. Oh, so you know what? That I think that's a good place for us to start.
yeah.
This idea of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
So I, people may or may not know, my mom had lung cancer and she's like on chemo drugs or whatever, but it's
Yeah.
for the most part out of her body.
Yeah.
And she was diagnosed during the pandemic, like that March that we that March where we literally
Yeah.
went to go stay at home.
Yeah.
That Friday, I think it was, like that Friday when at least here in New Jersey, they were like, oh, the kids aren't coming to school next week.
Yeah.
My mom got, she was like,
Diagnosed.
she was like, you have to start chemo next week.
Wow.
So she started chemo that Monday of stay in place, I think,
Yeah, that was like I
um,
think that like the third or second week of March or
of
something like
March.
that, right? That's
Yes,
exactly
yes.
when I lost my job.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so she had chemo, she had radiation for all of that time. And then she had her surgery. So over the last 2 years, I had been like, and during the pandemic, right, taking
Mm-hmm.
care of her. And you figure at the height of the pandemic, there were times when I couldn't go in with her.
Yeah, because a lot of people I know who were going through that, they had to do it alone.
They had to do it alone. Um, so we had like it was tough. It was tough. I would have to drop her off, even for radiation. Like
Yeah.
we would go in, I would sit in the parking lot, and it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, so I just think all of that
Yeah.
threw off just my system, my rhythm, on top of it being freaking pandemic with
Yeah.
kids.
Yeah.
And it just took my body out. Like, yeah, it took my body all the way out.
Really.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I'm like, I truly believe looking back, which I think a lot of people are gonna look back on those days and know, there was probably a little bit of depression, there was a little bit of anxiety, there
Mm-hmm.
was, a little bit of everything just messing with my mental.
Yeah.
And the first thing that kind of went was, you know, my body, like
Yeah.
exercising. And I tried, but I just, that my energy was low. So all of that to say, like I feel like I've come out of my funk and my fog,
Yeah.
and I'm like, okay, it's time to get all of this
Yeah.
back together. And the discipline of getting back in the gym consistently and having a regimen, having a plan. So I was like, you know what? I don't want to. Sometimes I have to be on camera. Sometimes I have to be at a training. And
Mhm.
when I'm working out, like my naturally curly hair doesn't always look good right after a workout.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's do some braids for a while I
Hmm.
get the rhythm going. And
Yeah.
so this is my switch up for discipline.
Ah, okay. I love it because I feel like hair and color and clothes really affect us. So hence why when I come on here with different colors and you're like, hey, I see something different or you feel different energy, right?
Yes. Yes. I see it. I
Mhm.
see it. Hence my when I put on this sweater,
Yeah.
this is like my it's winter outside, but I'm like, this is pink is hot. This is
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah.
Hot pink.
I know. I don't think I've ever saw that hot pink one. So I'm like, oh, like
No,
hot pink and your change
no.
of hair. I feel it. I feel it.
This is one of my favorite ones. This is one of my favorite ones.
Hmm.
But to your point, I think a lot of people out there don't recognize the importance of like switching things up. Like
Yeah.
switching things up. I think I remember it was Tony Robbins. I was listening to one of his podcasts and he was talking about his morning routine
Yeah.
and how when he wakes up, he does different things, physical things to like jolt him, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
trigger his brain, to trigger his body is like, let's go.
Yeah.
And a lot of my clients, my female clients, I always tell them like when they're in a rut, I'm like, take a risk,
Yeah.
right? Change your hair color. And I know to some people like, oh, it may be crazy. No, but sometimes when you are feeling like low energy and lethargic, you want to change something in your life, right? I've told people change the way you're driving to work. If you drive to work and you're on automatic,
Yeah.
tomorrow just pick a different route
Yeah.
because what it does is it triggers to the brain, wake up,
Yeah.
wake up. Don't
Mhm.
be on automatic.
Mhm.
So I love a good switch up. I love
Yeah,
a good switch.
exactly. Exactly. That's why I came here with the pink hair one day and then now it's purple, so
And you got the purple eyeshadow
and a
working.
purple eyeshadow to go with it.
Mm-hmm. So what switch ups are you thinking about? Like we're getting ready to go into like a new year.
Yeah.
Any switch ups that you're thinking about for yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, like me, like hair is a huge thing. Like I always feel like hair is like an easy like switch up for me. Like you said, when I came on here with the pink hair originally, you're like, "Oh, what made you go pink?" I'm like, "Well, I always know in the summer I like to go blonde. And then
Mm-hmm.
from the blonde, I'll do because I do all my hair colors myself to save money. So I'm like, okay, from the blonde, then I can switch it up to another color to like the pink to the purple now. I think it's great for like fall and winter.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm coming to a better place where I'm more focusing more on myself now.
Yay.
And I'll take this off the podcast, but I blocked him 2 days ago.
Okay.
So he's
You have a
officially
victory.
so he's officially blocked 2 days ago. And it's funny because I was editing our podcast from
Mm-hmm.
last week and the week before. So I put two of them out. And so I was listening to the parts that I was editing out.
Mm-hmm.
And and it's just funny because like I told you, I had that dream. And then I
Oh
think
boy.
I think I had that podcast on Wednesday, probably last week, right?
Uh-huh. Yes.
So I feel like I went to his job on Thursday and said, listen, I'm done. I'm removing myself from the picture. Like this is my goodbye, you know?
Okay.
And usually we always have that sexual attraction. So like if we're around each other, naturally we're gonna end up jumping each other's bones. So
Right.
I was talking to my girlfriend, I was telling her this story, and I told her like we technically got really close to like basically having sex, right? In the car.
Okay.
Right. And then I told her, I was like, we literally got in the back seat and we're about to do it. And then I just snapped out of it and I jumped out the car.
Oh, are you serious?
I literally jumped out the car, went to the other side of his door, opened the door for his side, and waited for him to button his pants and to tell him to get out.
Whoa.
So this was Thursday, but this is also Thursday where I found out that he told me that she hacked into his voicemail. Did I tell you that? No, right?
No.
She hacked into his voicemail, figured out his code, and saw that I had called him one day on a Tuesday, and she was really pissed off. And it was just like it was like a butt dial. So there was nothing to be mad about.
Right, 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 right.
Right? So that was Thursday, and
Hold
so
on one second. Hold on one second. Sorry, I had a
No,
package and I didn't want to leave it outside.
no, it's fine.
Okay, go ahead. So you
So
butt
that
dialed.
I butt dialed him. She got mad. She got hacked into his voicemail. And then in that conversation on Thursday, where I'm like, listen, this is my goodbye. Like, I can't keep doing this with you.
Right.
I find out about the voicemail. And then I look at Dave. I'm like, Dave, you're a bad cheater. She's going to catch you. Like, this is not it. Like, she's going to catch you again because you want to keep this friendship and you won't let me go because you're like, I'm an adult. We should be able to, have our friendships that we need and this and that. And and I was like, you're going to get caught and you're going to lose her. And he's like, I don't care. He's like, she's lying to me. And this is all technically to him, like he sees this all as a game of chess to him. So he thinks that this is all like a joke to him of being like pretending to be his girlfriend. I mean, pretending to be her boyfriend and she's a girlfriend and pretending that he's letting her have all of this control on Facebook and the statuses and putting photos up. Like to him, this is all a game because she thinks that she's smarter than him. So to him, this is just a game to prove to her like you are not smarter than me, and this is all like I'm gonna win basically. So I was like, well, she's gonna catch you. He's like, I don't care. Like it's fine. If this is you can't act like a warden to me. Like she's acting like a warden, tracking his location. This is anyway. Fast forward to Sunday. Saturday, Sunday, she was over his house, and then Monday I talked to him quickly because I had gotten so like I had blocked him on Monday, right? But
Mm-hmm.
so my watch and my laptop has a conspiracy will still send me messages from anyone I blocked.
Oh,
So
that's
instead of
annoying.
yeah, so instead of going to my phone, I'll still get them on my fucking watch and laptop. So I saw his message. He had sent me a message that said, we don't need to talk anymore. And I can't keep doing this. It's too complicated. And I love Marlene too much to keep doing this. And then he edited it to say, um, he edited and removed that part and said, I just can't, I'll just send you money. We don't have to keep doing this. It's too complicated. What are we doing this for? Question mark, and sent it to me. But these are both removed from my texts because he sent it and unsent it. So he sent the original one, edited it, sent it to me again, but then removed that, right? So I texted him. I was like, what did you unsend? What did you unsend me? Even though I already know. I'm like, what did you unsend me? I want to know. He's like, I don't know. I'm in a meeting. So he wouldn't tell me until I was like, well, I saw part of your message. So here's the part that I saw that you seem to not remember. What does this mean? He's like, oh, I was sending it to her because she hacked into his phone. So she's been eyeballing him every time he punches his number into his phone and she memorized it. And the funny thing is that talk that I had with him on Thursday, I'm like, she's gonna get into your phone. She's gonna get into it. He's like, no, she can't. My password's so complicated. I'm like, watch, she's gonna get into your phone. This is not the end. And lo and behold, Monday, she hacked into his phone, saw all of our texts.
What?
Yeah, saw all of our texts that were back and forth. Saw that I called her a narcissist and some other things. I don't know what else we said in there. I don't know how long she was reading his texts. So she read all of that. And obviously now she's on a rampage again, hence my dream. So she probably was on a rampage in her head of this,
Yes.
right?
And you picked up on the energy.
And I
Yes.
picked up on that energy. So that's why. So on Monday, when all of this happened, I think I talked to him Monday or Tuesday or whatever day that week. And I said, Dave, I need this. I need her. So every time this happens, I'm like, he has to like pretend and do another giant leap of like affection and giant leap of like showing that he's
That
for
he's
her.
still in it. Yes.
He's still in it. So every time something happens, he has to do a giant leap again, right? So this time I told him, he tried to do something where it was like he's made a tribute to her on like Facebook, I think last week, and that wasn't enough for her, right? Because
Oh, that's too
the
funny.
tribute that he had done for me was better. So she's like, well, hers is better. Like mine is just like, hey, buddy, this, and that. And then, so what he tried to do to appease her, to make her feel like she's, um, you know, his girlfriend, is that he put couple photos up and tagged her. right? And she's like, I don't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see it. And I was like, so then I suggested to him, I'm like, listen, I can't keep doing this shit. Like in my head, I kind of just wanted to push him. So push him over to the
Yeah.
edge. So I pushed him to the edge. I was like, Dave, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go on Facebook and accept her relationship status because that's something that she's asked for at least 5 times and he won't do it. And he's never claimed anybody on Facebook. He's never posted photos of anybody on Facebook. So
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he's bending over backwards and actually did post those photos, I was like, well, I'm going to fucking push you all the way then. I need you to do this for me. This is something I'm asking you for a favor, please. So I pushed him out and I said, you have to do this. Like, this is it. And we had like a long conversation. I'm like, I need you to do that. And after you do that, I'm going to block you, just so you know. And I said all the words I say to you. I'm like, listen, if you're in love with her, just let me go. Like, you are in love with her, just let me go. And he's like, okay, like quickly. Okay. I'm like, oh, right. So you obviously been waiting for me to say this to you because you were so quick to be like, yes, okay. I was like, okay, I'm going to remove myself from your life and you guys can just figure this out. Okay. I'm like, oh, so you're handling me and manipulating me as well. You've been waiting for me to say this for me to walk out easily so you feel okay that you're not the one doing this to me. So I was like, all right.
Yeah,
So
he wanted you to be the one to do it so that he
yeah,
could say,
yeah,
oh no, she broke up with me.
yeah, exactly.
I am like, yeah, you look lighter.
Yeah,
You look a little bit freer, and it doesn't mean that you don't feel a little,
yeah,
but you definitely don't seem as heavy as you did before.
yeah, yeah. I wanted to wait a couple of days.
To
Uh,
block.
I wanted to of the blocking. I was like, okay, I need like a couple of days of blocking before I talk to Sunrise, so I feel a little stronger.
What? You're already strong. You're already like the fact that you're even able to have these conversations, Linda, that's the strength.
Mm-hmm.
That really is the strength. It's not always like, oh, the action. The strength is like having the conversation to and having the awareness that you have to do it. So I think sometimes people beat themselves up because they're like, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that.
Yeah,
No, no, no. Like I want you to be real clear.
yeah.
I actually believe you're stronger than you think you are.
Mm-hmm. I think other people see it easier than I do.
Of course, because you're in the shit.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just like in general of like I didn't see myself till I saw myself on these podcasts in general of how strong and who I look like to everybody because
Mm-hmm.
I know all the stuff I've done. It's just that I don't see it and everybody else is like, Linda, like you fucking did all of this and this. Like don't you see how much and how strong you are? I'm like, well, to me I'm just going through it like survival, but my
Mm-hmm.
survival surpasses a shitload of other people's survival. You know, like
Yep.
my survival is like top tier, like I'm gonna fucking bulldoze all of my goals and get there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me in survival mode. Am I really present in it? No, I'm more present now. You know,
Yeah.
you know. And so the funny thing is that even though I blocked him, there's always a way for him. So I told him I'm gonna block you, and the only way you can contact me is through email if you we need to talk about the real estate business that where I'm helping him like do some things for it. And if they go through, I'll get like a commission, you know? And so I was like, I'll just do that on the side. If you need anything from it, just email me. So it's just business, you know? So I
Mm-hmm.
blocked him on like the Talkatone app, the WhatsApp, the regular phone. So I blocked all those. So day 2, he already texted me and it went through and said, good morning. I text you on WhatsApp. So I just ignored that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he made an adjustment on the notes. And then I just made an adjustment on it of like, no, this is my note. And so he replies to it and then says, can you check your Talkatone, please? Or get a new number on Talkatone so I can, check your WhatsApp or get a new number so we can communicate. So I took that whole line and I deleted it. I'm like, delete. We don't need that. So then I just ignored him again. And then, like I told you, like nighttime is when I'll start having like fucking thoughts in my head where I want to like kind of tell him.
Mm.
And I text my girlfriend. I'm like, oh, I want to unblock him, but I'm not going to. And so I just started writing in my notes of like shit that I was thinking. And I'll just
Yeah.
write it. So instead of writing it to him, I'm like sending it to him. I'll just write it to him, but I'll just write it in my notes of everything I'm thinking. And I just left it there. And
That's some boss bitch stuff.
so that's day 2. So I've finished 2 days, and I know he's going to show up at my house again because he always shows up when I ignore him for at least a couple days. So watch, he's going to show up today or tomorrow.
What do you do?
I was thinking, I don't know, either I was just not gonna answer the door, not come out, or I would just talk to him, but then set that boundary,
Hmm.
where he knows that I mean business now.
Mhm.
So
Or just go out.
yeah. But no, I don't know when he comes. He doesn't tell me because he can't contact me. He'll just pop up.
Or you're right. Listen, or invite some folks over and have company so then you can't receive him.
Oh, wait,
Like,
you know what? I am gonna go out tomorrow. I did make plans actually.
good for you.
I just made plans with my one of my close girlfriends, and I said, "Do you want to have dinner?" Because the kids are not home. So I do have plans. There you go.
Yeah. And then we have plans on Saturday.
And then we have plans Saturday, so I'm good. So I'm just making the plans.
Yeah. That's what you Oh, you're killing it. I know you don't think you are, but you are.
Here's the other thing that's great too that you'll smile. So everybody I talk to, like my girlfriends or whatever, I end up just crying because I'm very open about my process now of like being
Mhm.
sad, depressed, going through my childhood and my breakup. So anybody I talk to, I'm very vulnerable. And so
Mhm.
I haven't talked to my girlfriend in years who lives in Seattle now. We used to hang out a lot when we were 25. And so I'm talking to her, I'm crying, and she's like, Linda, do you have plans for Thanksgiving? And I'm like, no, Sunny usually takes the kids for Thanksgiving. So I'll probably be home alone, try to figure out how to order some turkey. One of my girlfriends did invite me to her house, but I was like, I'm fine staying home. And she's like, Linda, why don't you just come to Seattle? I'll pay for your flight.
Oh
Right. And
my
I'm like,
God, you're going to freaking Washington?
oh, she's like, I'll pay for your flight. And I was like, oh, all right, let me figure it out. Because me, like, I always feel guilty leaving my kids. So unless they have plans with their father and already having plans, I'll feel guilty because my son will always give me that look of like, oh my God, you're leaving me and I'm so sad. So I only feel not guilty if they have plans.
Right.
So either that night or the next day, I feel like it was that night, my ex texts me and says, all right, I'm going to take the kids this weekend, and I'm going to take the kids Wednesday to Saturday. And those are the exact days that my girlfriend on the phone and FaceTime was telling me, oh, look, there's a flight Wednesday to Saturday. Maybe you can come out here Wednesday to Saturday or Thursday to Saturday. Just let me know what works for you. So
Serendipity.
so the fact that he said it and the serendipity of it, I was like, I can't say no.
No, you have to go.
Yeah, like I can't say no. So I was like,
And there's something for you there. There is
yeah,
something for you there. There is something like divinely waiting for you, whether it's a beautiful hug from a friend, whether it's an old story,
yep.
whether it's a business opportunity, it could be a new client for your art.
Mm-hmm.
There is something waiting there for you.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
Know
So
it.
so the fact that he had set it up already where it was like Wednesday to Saturday, I was like, well, this is fucking fate. I can't not go now because me, if I was in my normal state of being sad and depressed, I would just be like, no, I don't want to travel. It's Thanksgiving. But I was like, oh fuck no. Like how did that line up perfectly the days that she suggested that he suggested? So I texted her, I'm like, well, it's gonna I'm like, yes, I'll take you up on your offer. So I'm gonna go Seattle Wednesday to Saturday.
That's freaking fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. See, when you start clearing out your space, watch more is going to come to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
More is going to come. That's just how the universe works.
Exactly. And I mean, like I've always known it that you can't have more in your life till you get rid of, like the clutter of your house and the shit that's in your house,
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that you're hoarding. And it's just like that of, I guess,
Yeah.
relationships that are dead.
Yeah. My mom always says you have to form a vacuum in your life. So when I was growing up, every New Year, like not the day before New Year's Eve,
Mm-hmm.
um, we would my parents would have us like not just clean the house,
Yeah.
but we would have to like bag up old clothes, shoes, coats, items in our rooms, things that we haven't like
Touched
worn
it.
or touched,
Yeah.
have to bag it all because my mom didn't want any of it in the house when the new year started.
Mm.
And she would always say that would be her thing. She's like, we're creating a vacuum.
Yeah.
And that would be anything. That would be food, anything in the cabinets,
Yeah.
old dishes, pillows, comforters, clothes. She was like, we're forming a vacuum for the new year and we're not going to take old things that don't serve us. We're not going
Yeah.
to take them
Yeah.
into the new year.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we
Yeah.
did that every year. I do it with my kids now. Not the same way, but we definitely around New Year's Eve, we start doing vision boards and we do like clearing out of things in the house.
Yeah.
And we each do our own vision board and put them up in our rooms. But I think when we clear space, to
Yeah.
your point,
Mm-hmm.
you create room for something else and something better.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And I feel like I was mourning and grieving for the past 2 years. And I think it's something I obviously needed because I realized like one thing that I did was that I took a tour with Maddie to her new high school. And I told you
Mm,
that where it looked like the colors of our high school. And I
yeah.
started crying. And I'm like, why am I crying? And then it clicked to me where I I'm processing all of those feelings now in these past few 2 years of
Mhm.
everything that I never processed as a child, as a teenager,
Mm.
and as an adult.
Yeah.
And I needed to cry it out. I needed to feel it, be sad, be hysterical, be raging. Like I needed to feel all those things because it was all suppressed. And I feel like by the end of the year, I'll be done crying.
Yeah. Ah!
No.
That sounds like an organized plan. By the end of the year, I'm
Yeah.
done
I
crying.
think by the end of the year, I'll be more done crying because I noticed in some other podcasts that when I started talking to you about things that I didn't bust out crying, where I
Mhm.
was able to talk about something and I might feel a little bit of it, but I'm not bursting out and crying, you know?
Yeah, you're not overwhelmed by it, and your tears. I think sometimes people see tears and they think tears mean one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Tears can mean a lot of different things. You could be crying at someone's funeral, and one emotion at the beginning of the funeral could be tears of like just sadness because you're going
Yeah.
to miss the person. And then 2 hours later, you could be crying, but you could be crying with tears of joy of the
Yeah.
memories that you have with that person.
Yeah.
So I think as you talk about how tears kind of flow, and even in the context of what we're saying now about clearing out space,
Mm-hmm.
your tears at the start were like, they were more like a release
Yeah.
of like what had been suppressed.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now your tears are more like tears like, wow, I can't believe I went through that. You know what I mean? Which is very, very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Mm-hmm.
Man, look at you out here changing people's lives and your own.
I'm trying. Every podcast, right? Every podcast, every story, one story at a time. One story at a time.
One story at a time. So that's great that you have a lot that you're going to release and have released, particularly tears by the end of the year.
Yeah.
But when you think about like the tears that you cried when you went to your daughter's high school,
Mm-hmm.
how are you feeling about kind of like releasing her to this new phase of her life?
Um, I have no reservations of it because she's grown into her own skin where she
Mm.
goes through every single new step with like excitement and enthusiasm,
Mm.
you know? So
Yeah.
I love that she's like comfortable in her own skin.
Yeah. Do you ever look at her and as a mother, how do you feel when you look at her? Because I was talking to a client a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
and there's a running theme with some of my clients around mommy daughter issues.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a whole podcast right there.
I know, but I mean, we don't have to jump in it here. We could
Yeah.
save it for another time. But
Yeah.
like, given like your experience,
Mm-hmm.
her age, and now you look at her and how you've described her, what is your like, how do you experience her? Do you know what I mean? Like, what are
Yeah.
your feelings when you look at
Yeah.
her?
I it's really funny because like I I guess like I saw all of my fears surface when I first had her.
Mm,
All of my childhood fears and emotions and everything I saw in
yeah.
her.
Mm-hmm.
But the funny thing is that eventually that resolved itself, but then it transferred to my son.
Mm.
Yeah. So it's no longer with my daughter. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's with my son now. And I'm trying to,
Really?
yeah. And it happened and I saw it like one day, I don't know if it was preschool or something. He went to preschool and he came home and then I saw like his photos of school photos. The light in his eye went away.
Oh, what grade was he in?
I think he was in preschool. Like the carefree, sweet child look in his eyes, something shifted.
Mm-hmm.
And then he looked like his father. And I was like, oh no, like it's kind of like that self-defensive, like basically like a fuck you to the world kind of look.
I got to defend myself.
I gotta defend myself look. And I was like, oh my God, he lost it. Like I saw in the photos and it just went away. And I'm like, oh, how do I like so now he's my focus of like how to and that's the hard part of it is that I don't have the issues with her. It's with him because that's my main issue, right? Men.
Mm.
And the hard part is that his his father's not around as much as I would want him to be, and he's not a good example. So like what good example of a male role model does my son have? None, because his friends are all like alcoholics and narcissists like him too. So what kind of male role model is my son getting? None really, besides a strong woman. That's it.
Right.
You know, he just has me as a strong woman, but he doesn't know how to be a man.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
Yeah.
have a role model for him for that. And that's when it started clicking to me as well of like Dave's not the right one. Because had Dave been the right one, he would have want to be that role model for my kids. Because if you love me, you would love my kids too. And
Yes.
he only made a very small effort with my kids and then blamed it on my kids, saying that they're not the ones open.
Yeah. Kids aren't supposed to be open though.
Yeah, yeah. So I was like, oh no, you're not it then. I was like, you are so fucked up. Like that was like part of the epiphany of like how I already started realizing like I'm no longer like once I healed myself, most of myself, and how Dave helped me heal most of those like traumas from childhood and sexuality. When I started to heal those, then I was able to move on to realize, shit, now I'm being too selfish. Where who's Dave in my life, and who what kind of example am I showing for my kids of this guy who comes around once or twice a weekend and leaves and doesn't make
Yeah.
an effort to hang out with my kids or plan
Or connect
anything.
or build relationship.
Yeah, anything. And I was like, and then you blame it on my kids. And I'm like, oh, well, no wonder your girls don't want to talk to you. No
Mm.
wonder, like, you might need to look at yourself why your girls don't want to talk to you and why you keep
Yeah.
not being able to succeed in life and not be able to get out of your mom's home.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like
Yeah.
you are the problem.
It's definitely, parenting will definitely have us reflect
Yeah.
about our lives and ourselves in completely different ways. And I think I don't think people I don't think people get it. I don't think people really get how the responsibility of raising another human
Human
being.
being. Yeah.
Human being.
So when you asked me about how my relationship with mother daughter, and like that's a huge thing, one of the persons that I found on Instagram that I've done a couple of podcasts with, Galena Singer, she her first Instagram post that I read and like resonated with me, like not just with me, but like other parents, where you're like, you're raising your kids through your trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're raising your kids through your trauma, you're just unloading all of it onto them.
You're
And
programming them.
yeah, so then and then like you're also making, like I said, like it's like your dreams, all your dreams, you want your kids to succeed, like all your dreams that you never were able to succeed, you want your kids to succeed. So you're
Mm-hmm.
pushing like so much of that huge baggage onto them, and they don't want that baggage. They're like, no, I want to be myself, like I want to go do this and that. Why do you think I need to be this way and succeed in these goals and get those grades that you think I need and go to that college you think that's prestigious and all of it? Why do you need that?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of parents are living through all of it and living vicariously through their child.
I think the word that you use that stands out to me is the programming, right? It's that podcast that we watched, he sent to me,
The
and the guy
avatar and the podcast and all of it.
avatar, and how early the programming starts, right?
Yeah.
And once you're programmed, you're then operating in that program
Unconscious
system.
program. Yeah.
Yes. And so one of the things that I have been doing, the personal work that I've been working on just spiritually, is catching the programming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Catching the programming when I have an opinion about something, that I'm treating it as if it's a fact, right? I have an opinion about something and I'm treating it as if it is a fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm then interacting with it as if it's not flexible. I
Yes.
started paying attention to
Mm.
that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what does it mean
Yeah.
to be self-sufficient in the world today?
Yeah.
What does it mean to have wealth?
Yeah.
What does it mean? People have been asking me, right? You're talking about your daughter going to high school. My daughter's going to college, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
huge. Huge.
oh, it's huge. And that's why I asked, kind of prompted the question, because when I look at my daughter, I just see, I just think she's so much better than I am.
Really.
Yeah. Like
Mm-hmm.
I look at her and I'm impressed with her. I'm in awe of her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
And
you
as
you guys did that though. You
I
guys
know,
did that.
yes, I'll take credit for it, but I think she came with a little bit of it in her too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
Of
almost like I
course.
feel like God gave us like a good canvas.
Yeah.
He was like, don't botch this up. This shit should be really easy.
Yeah.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah.
Just fill in the lines. But I gave you the outline. But I think that when as she's preparing to go off to school, it keeps hitting me in my head, like the programming, right? People always ask her, oh, Sanaya, where do you want to go to school? Or where do you want to go? And then they'll ask me, someone asked me yesterday, well, where do you want her to go? And the programming, right?
Mm-hmm.
I caught myself because programming would have had me run down
Mm-hmm.
all of the things that
Yeah.
I want for her.
Yeah.
And I immediately said, I want to go where she's going to be able to be her full, authentic, beautiful self.
Love it. Love it. That's the goal.
That's the goal, right?
Oh,
Because I, in my finite mind, could think, oh, she's going to do well here. She's going to do well here. But ultimately, God in the universe knows who she is and what she's supposed to be in the world.
yeah.
And I have to trust that wherever her heart leads and guides her, that's ultimately where she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Now, my fingers are crossed that wherever that is, she gets a lot of money and scholarships. I just want to put that disclaimer out there
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
This whole college thing it's a trick.
Yeah.
And we'll end on that.
Yeah.
That's all. It's a racket. It's a trick, but we'll end on that.
I know, I know. That was one of the thoughts I was thinking. I was like, oh my God, when my kids go to college, I kind of want them to make sure that they have like scholarships and money and all of that, you know?
Start looking now. That's what
Yeah.
I would say. Not start looking now because you don't want to put pressure on your daughter, but you start helping her to, I think what we helped our daughter do was kind of lean into those things that interest her.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because what our where our school system fails our kids is that they are learning so much bullcrap
Yeah.
that like they don't
90% of it is bullcrap.
that they don't need, that many of them aren't even going to use ever in life,
Ever. Ever. But
or maybe,
they're not learning the basic life skills either.
nope.
Taxes, budget, how to fix a flat tire, how to,
I have said multiple times, who the hell cares about calculus? How many people's careers require them to do calculus? Like, let's really think about it.
mm-hmm.
Of all the careers, who's really using calculus right now? But why do they have to take it when they could actually take financial literacy
Yeah.
and learn
Yeah.
not just like credit, but cryptocurrency,
Yes.
stocks and bonds, trading, life
Oh,
insurance,
I see a boot camp, Sunrise boot camp, life skills.
life, life skills. You stay adding something to my plate, a life skill boot camp.
A life skills boot camp for students who are going to graduate high school. I see it. You're gonna do it.
They need it though, right? Because some kids are like, I don't know what I'm. My son comes home every day and fusses at least once. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, Mom, when am I ever going to use this? And I can't argue with him. I
Yeah.
don't argue with my kids.
Yeah.
I'm like, son, you are correct.
Yeah.
But this is the system that we're operating in. And until we can get to a place where we can change the system,
Yeah.
right? It's, well, I shouldn't say that. That's
Well,
actually
you
not
could do a homeschool.
I just caught myself.
Yeah.
I just caught myself. The reality is I didn't want to homeschool. My mom wanted me to homeschool, and I was like, yeah, girl, no, I'm not
Yeah.
homeschooling.
Yeah.
I love my kids. I'm going to do the best that I can in the few hours that I have them and
Yeah.
then deprogram them when they come back from
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. Let me tell you about all of this.
Let me give you the real Black history, right? Let me give
Yeah.
you the history about like our indigenous native people from this land that
Yeah.
were the original inhabitants of this land.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, listen, that is, yeah, that's real.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God. I
Hmm.
can't believe she's going. So is there any other thoughts that you have of her leaving the nest and the relationship and how you raised her and
It's funny. I've been transitioning my relationship with her probably the last couple of years. I think the pandemic was actually great for us
mm-hmm.
because we were able to connect in a different way during the pandemic.
Really?
Yeah, and I watched her mature. It's like my son. When we started the pandemic, and I tell
Yeah.
people this all the time, my son was the shortest person in the house. He was the shortest person. By the end of that first year of like the 1 year anniversary of the pandemic, like that summer,
Mm-hmm.
my son had passed everyone in the house, including my husband,
Really?
in height.
Wow.
And I tell people all the time, like, if it had not been for the pandemic, I would not have seen every single detail.
Wow. So you were
I
present.
heard, we had to be because there was no place to go.
Yeah.
But every day I heard my son's voice change. Like I
Wow.
heard it go from a high pitch
Yeah.
to weak to when it was like a full regular deep voice. And my husband and I, we laugh all the time because had we not been in the pandemic, that would have just been, it would not have been in the forefront of our eyes, right?
Yeah.
Because it would have been the hustle and bustle. Oh, get your stuff, go to school,
Yeah.
come
Yeah.
home. But because every day we were eating dinner together, which
Mm-hmm.
we did before, but it was different, right? Because now
Yeah.
we're all day together. We would do morning meditations together. We would
Mm-hmm.
do midday check-ins, right? As a family.
Yeah.
I heard his voice and literally saw him grow inch by inch.
Wow.
So with my daughter, I was really blessed to have those 2 years during the pandemic to almost like for our relationship to go from like mother daughter to
Mm-hmm.
like mother daughter.
I love it. That's beautiful that that was able to happen. And then the gift of time, you know what I mean? Like like you said of the last podcast where you want someone to realize how to be more present and grateful for what they have, you know. And I
Yep.
always remind people of that when someone starts to complain about, oh, you know, this and that. And I think me being able to travel to China and experience a third world country of, you know, how it is there, and then realizing, oh my God, thank God I live in America and have all of these luxuries that people don't have in a third world country, you know. So when
Yeah.
someone complains about just regular life, I let them remind them, like, listen, you have the basic fundamental things that majority of the world don't have. So you should be happy
No.
that you have a roof over your head, you have food, you have family, you have friends, like you have transportation, you have a car, you know, like those are basic things that a lot of people don't have. So you should be,
And even if you don't have like the highest level of things, right?
yeah.
Access is everything, right? Public transportation, right? Like a lot of countries, they don't necessarily have that kind of
Or yeah, or just plumbing.
transportation.
Plumbing.
Yeah.
Like in China, I saw people just throwing their garbage out the window
Oh.
into the river. And I'm like, you're throwing it into the river and there's people fishing down the way.
Mm.
What's wrong with people? Like, what?
Oh,
But one of the things I was thinking about, I wanted to ask you is how did your relationship with Kyle change after you had kids?
oh man, that's a good question. Because we're coming up on our 20th wedding anniversary.
When? December
December 28th.
December 28th. Can I talk to you
Yeah.
guys on December 28th?
Probably not, but we'll figure
December 29
the 29 or the 30th. Um,
or the day before, the 27th. Let
the
me
27th.
talk to you the day before. All right. It's the day before. Give me your reflections.
I think the change that I think I saw the change more in him than I did in myself.
Really?
Yeah. When he had when we had our daughter, he had a different level of focus about life.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband's always been focused, so it's not
Yeah.
like, but it was different.
Yeah.
Right? He got in motion about certain things that he wanted her to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, we were in a townhouse at the time, and he was like, "No, we need something bigger where she can play in the yard,
Mm-hmm.
and I want our home to be in a town where there's diversity. I
Yeah.
want the home to I want the school system like it." He just started thinking about things in a different way,
Yeah.
and that for me was impressive. I knew he was going to be a great dad because his father was a great father.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think between the two of us, we've always been very intentional about
Yeah.
putting our marriage first. And
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot, I've heard like,
Yeah.
we counsel work with couples or whatever. And there's always somebody's like, oh no, my kids come before my significant other. And
No.
we're like, yeah, we always make the joke. We're like, listen, when the kids are gone,
Yeah.
you two need to know each other,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to look around and the kids are gone and then you're like, you don't even know who you're in relationship with.
Yeah.
So we laugh, our kids, they crack up at us all the time. They come home, they're like, oh, you guys are putting each other first. You're going on a date night. Like from the beginning, our kids, we were like, yep, nope, this is mommy and daddy time.
Yeah. Yeah.
On a date night. Nope, you can't come. They'll
Mm-hmm.
get like, oh, can we come to the diner with you? We're like, nope, this is our, like, we're very, very,
Mm-hmm.
we became more intentional about our relationship and
Yeah.
making sure that we poured into it.
Well, that's amazing because the example that you showed them is to make sure that they foster that relationship, and that marriage is very important besides the family unit.
It is.
This
Well,
time for family, yeah,
and we always told them that like the family can't be strong if the two of us aren't strong.
yeah,
If
because
we're
you're the
fighting
nucleus.
and we're disagreeing and we're not on the same page, the family, like if we're the leaders
Yeah,
and we're infighting as the leaders, how can the leaders like lead the tribe?
no,
It's not
no,
gonna work.
it's like the nucleus of it. If the nucleus is not, you know, cohesive and a partnership and tight,
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing is going to disintegrate and fall apart.
Yeah. And partnerships change. Partnerships change. Like I've changed, he's
Mm-hmm.
changed over 20 years. Well, we've been together 28 years,
Yeah.
but 27 years. But we've changed as individuals.
Yeah, that's another amazing thing to look at, because like how do you maneuver that when each partner is technically changing through the years?
It's funny. You asked that question. Somebody just posted, I'll send it to you, an article about that in relationship. How do you put, how do you maintain putting the other person first while still being an individual?
Yeah.
And I think the way we did it was we were both always very mindful of what the other person needed, and we respected what the other person needed.
Mm-hmm.
So I would always pay attention to, like, times when he needs to be with other men, with his fraternity brothers. And I would encourage it. Like I would say, okay, you have been in this house with us and these kids too damn long.
Mm-hmm.
I actually need you to go away, right?
Mm-hmm.
He went away with his frat brothers this summer, and it was like the best thing for him.
Mm.
But we've always maintained our being individuals
Yeah.
inside a relationship because we stayed communicating. Like when I wanted to go get my doctorate,
Yeah.
I told him, I said, I want to get my doctorate. I know this affects the whole family,
Yeah.
but this is something I want us to do. This is how I believe it could benefit the family, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll also benefit me. So let's sit and talk how we can make this happen.
Yeah.
It was always communication. And so for him, he was like, okay, you go first, right? Wait, did I go first or he went first? Yeah, I went first.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, okay, well, it's my turn. I'd like to do my master's, da 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 da. And I was like, okay, your turn. And
Yeah.
we would tag team in a way that respected where each person was.
Yeah.
But we always maintained our individualism. Individualism? I don't know what the word is.
Individuality.
Individuality. There it
Yeah.
is. I had a brain fart. Mm-hmm.
Now, was there any parts of that journey that you guys had like roadblocks and deal breakers?
Yeah, man.
Like, I want to hear some of those hard deal breakers
It
that.
was money. It was money, right? When you are, one of the things we tell a lot of couples today, particularly couples of color, we
Mhm.
always tell them, we said the American dream is a crock of crap.
Yeah.
Like the American dream was not ideally created for people of color and immigrants.
No.
It wasn't because
No.
no, they didn't have us in
No.
mind.
Not
They
at
didn't have,
all.
they didn't have our parents in mind. None of that.
Hmm.
Our parents had to grab and snatch
Hmm.
aspects of the dream and
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
cultivate it themselves.
Yeah.
But it was the idea of the American dream, how people talk about it, it wasn't there for us. So we tell
Yeah.
a lot of couples that, like, focus on what's going to make your relationship and your marriage happy, not what society says.
Hmm.
Society says, oh, you got to get a house with a white picket fence and a
Yeah.
dog,
Yeah.
and your kids have to go to the best school,
Hmm.
and you have to drive the finest and the flyest car, and if you're not traveling, you're nothing.
Yeah, which is
So we
what
tell,
that's why everyone gets into debt, because they're trying to look like the American dream when you have no money in the bank, no retirement, no cryptos, no savings, nothing, but you look like you have millions of dollars, but in debt.
and that's the mistake that we made early on.
Mm-hmm.
So when we work with couples now, our job is to, like, don't make the same mistake we made.
Yeah.
So that's where a lot of our roadblocks were, right? So understanding, like, I was doing this doctorate degree, he's doing his master's degree, but that would have also required us to, like, put in more time and effort to generate more income.
Mm-hmm.
So you go in debt for some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And as debt becomes due, you're like, oh, but wait a minute, we have this huge house that we bought. Oh, wait a minute, we have these two cars. Oh, wait a minute, we forgot we put our kid in, like, one of the most expensive private schools.
Yeah.
So all of that is where,
Compounded.
yes. But through it all, we remained friends,
Mm-hmm.
and we always communicated. Even when it was hard.
Yeah.
Even when it was hard.
Yeah.
even when it was hard. We make a joke with our couples, right? Like there's people are ashamed of things like, oh, repo and foreclosure and all those things. Oh no, we had a car repoed. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
it happened. Yep, it yes, hand raised, it happened, right? Because we didn't make the car notes or whatever, and they came and they got it. We
Mm-hmm.
got it back.
Yeah.
But yeah, that 3 a.m. knocking on your garage scared the hell out of both of us.
Yeah.
And we were crying together in our room, like, how the hell did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
How the hell did we get here?
Mm-hmm.
Those are roadblocks that you can overcome, but you can't overcome them if you're not talking.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, did you have any couples that had like infidelity and were they able to
Oh
get
yeah, all
through
the time.
those and stay together?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
What tips
It's,
and things that they were able to implement to be able to get through those?
I think the conversation of infidelity is interesting, right? Because everyone has a different take on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think whatever a person's take is on it, how can I say this? They need to be clear as the programming, how we were talking about programming.
Mm-hmm.
They need to be clear on what the programming is in their mind on that subject.
Yeah, like what that programming told you and what your beliefs on that
Or
programming.
what your beliefs are and all of that, right? For some people, infidelity is like it's like it's not even a non-starter. Like we're done.
Yeah,
Some people.
yeah.
And for others, they're like, this is the person I want to be with.
Mm-hmm.
They made a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm hurt and we need to heal, but we need you guys to help us heal so
Mm.
that I can build my trust back. I can have a better understanding. And
Yeah.
oftentimes, the couples that come to us with that situation, that's the work that we do. The work isn't like, oh, that person was wrong, you're right. None of that matters because every relationship is different.
Mm-hmm.
Our work with them is to get them talking about how did we get here?
Okay. I
How
like
did
that.
we get here?
Yeah.
Yes, that person may have stepped out and that person can't blame the other person for them stepping out,
Yeah.
but they both can take responsibility for how they got there.
Yeah. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. That's like we say that's grown folk stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And did do a lot of those couples end up staying together or they break apart?
Most of them, I would say 90% of our couples that have experienced that are
Mm-hmm.
still together today.
Yeah. Interesting.
They're still together today.
Yeah.
And because often when we get them talking and
Mm-hmm.
we get couples vulnerable and connected in the session,
Mm-hmm.
so much truth comes out
Yeah.
that has like how okay, perfect example, like how you said Sunrise for like the last 2 years. Like I was just like, crying because
Yeah.
all of this stuff has come to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how much muck and dirt and crap is like stored up inside you as an individual, but you're
Mm-hmm.
inside of this relationship and the other person doesn't know that you're fighting these inner demons and turmoil.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Because majority of, everyone's just walking through life and these relationships, just really suppressing a lot of it and just on autopilot and just living as this like avatar of like, this is who I need to be. And then at some point in their life, like they wake up and like realize, oh my God, like, who am I? And how did I get here? Right. Like, then you act, if there was infidelity, why did you do that? What made you act like that? And how did you get there to get to that point where you
Mm-hmm.
felt like you had to do that?
Yep.
Instead of going to your wife or husband and talking to them and
And
communicating.
communicating. And we tell couples all the time that the infidelity didn't start with the actual act.
Yeah.
It started way before that.
Yeah.
And both of you probably noticed,
Mm-hmm.
but for whatever reason, no one was vulnerable enough or connected enough to be able to say, okay, we need time out.
Yeah.
Something's off here
Yeah.
and we need to like recalibrate.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will Yeah, you're right, because it didn't start with just whatever those secret conversations and secret Facebook texts and the emotional cheating or whatever it is, your coworker that you started bonding with or whatever it is,
Yep.
right? It didn't start with that. It started with probably all those little insidious like fights and disagreements that you had, that you felt like possibly you were not heard, or you felt like you were, disregarded.
And not even fights and disagreements. Yes, that's part of it, but some of it is I wanted you to go to this event with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you were busy, but instead of me authentically expressing to you, it would really mean so much if you came with me.
Yeah.
You didn't do that.
Yes.
It's not an
And that
argument
starts
or
adding up.
disagreement. It wasn't being vulnerable enough to say, there's a part of me that really needs you here. And so instead of showing you how vulnerable or how much I want you, I'm just going to be like, oh, it's okay. I get it. You can't come. You have work.
Mm-hmm.
That silencing that emotion, that feeling, that voice inside of you,
Yeah.
it left somewhat of a little hole.
Yes.
And then something different and random happened, and it kind of made that hole a little bit wider.
Yeah.
And now, what was a simple request that you suppressed, you're now feeling alone.
Yes.
And the other person,
Ignored.
and the other person is like completely like, what did I miss?
Yeah. So there's a
And
lack of communication.
yeah,
Communication, communication, communication. But what if you're communicating and they are not reciprocating?
what does that mean though?
So you say like, oh, I wanted you to come to this event. And you asked them nicely of how much it means to you. I really need you to come to this event. And they still said no.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, I think one of two things, right? It depends on what the no was,
Mm-hmm.
right? If the no is, no, I don't want to go with you,
Yeah.
that's completely different from, babe, I really, really hear you,
Mm-hmm.
but I have, like, I don't have a choice. I have to do this thing at work.
Yeah.
Is there a win-win?
Yeah.
Is there a way that I can come with you for part of the time and still do what I have to do? Like, it really depends on what the no is.
Oh, instead of like just no, like I just want to stay home and sit on the couch now.
Yeah, like, I mean, that kind of no really speaks to your relationship probably needs counseling or support, right?
Yeah.
Because that person who's like an outright no, even after you've expressed yourself intimately and honestly,
Yeah.
probably needs help understanding communication or something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it really depends on the type of no.
Mm-hmm.
Because there have been times when I've vulnerably expressed something that I've wanted or needed.
Yeah.
And, my husband was very empathetic and compassionate, but he was just not in a position to be able to give it to me. But he heard me, he acknowledged what I wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, is there another way that I can support you?
Mm.
That request, that offering is enough to warm my heart, because
I
I'm
like
like,
that. I like
you
that.
care enough. You
Yeah.
care enough that you can't necessarily give me exactly what I want, but
Yeah.
you're willing to try to give me something.
Something, be like, what else
That's
can I
love.
do for you to support you in this whatever
Yeah.
thing that you need? I just can't do that, but can I give you something else? See,
Yes.
beautiful. That's a great tip right there.
I
Because like
try.
women, like if they're not getting one thing, they still need to know that they're recognized or seen or heard and whatever they
Or that
need.
the other person is willing
Mm-hmm.
and loves them enough to figure out a way to get them what they need, even if it's in a different way.
Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah. That is love. That is love. Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah.
I tell
Because
people all the time, you want to love someone enough, not that you would give your life for them,
mm-hmm.
but you are willing to try and figure out a way to help them save their own.
Yeah.
Love isn't always, oh, I would give my life for you.
Yeah.
It sounds really cavalier, and I think it's ridiculous. But true love is like, how can I ensure that my life is secure,
Mm-hmm.
and me help you figure out how to save your life too.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be either one or the other?
Yeah.
Loving each other means that we figure out how we both can get what we want.
Exactly. It's just a how, right? Like I had talked to somebody on another podcast where I think one of the advices that he gave me, because I always ask, like, what's the secret to, like a happy marriage
Mm-hmm.
or happy relationship or a friendship or whatever it is, right? And I think one of the things he said is that when he met his partner, um, it was always like, what do you need, right? If you need something, it'll be like, yes, okay, let's figure out how.
Mm-hmm.
How can we do this? It's always a yes. Okay, let's figure it out. So it's
Mm-hmm.
never a no. Like, what do you need? No. Okay, yes. All right. So let's
Mm-hmm.
negotiate, or I don't know if he used the word negotiate or compromise. Oh, I think he didn't like the compromise. He said, let's negotiate, let's figure it out. And it's
Mm-hmm.
a yes. No matter what it is, it's a yes. It's just how can we do it?
It's just how do we do it?
How do we do it?
And in so many words, that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But oftentimes in relationship, most times, and most of the couples that we've worked with, most couples aren't, when they start working with us, they are not 100% vulnerable with each other. They
Mm.
could have been together for 20 years.
Yeah.
They're still not 100% vulnerable with each other.
Really.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. Vulnerability is serious.
That's true. That's true. Like I don't think well, I'm not the same person I was when I was married. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I realized like I was evolving and changing, and we were evolving and changing away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think the support was there for each other to be like, okay, this is what I need. Like, how can I get what I need? How can you get what you need?
It's hard to give someone what they need when you're giving from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And many times in relationship, we want someone to give us something and they're giving from an empty cup. So they not only don't have enough for for us, they don't have enough for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's another one that this woman said where they're like, her advice, best relationship advice was that it's not a 50-50. It's 100 and 100.
It's a
You
hundred and a
come
hundred.
with your 100 of your authenticity, your happiness, and I will come as my best self. And if you are not your best self, go figure it out, work on
And,
yourself, and then
and we'll
come
meet up
back.
and we'll meet up down the road.
Yeah, we'll meet up down the road when you're 100 and we can be, 100 and 100. It's not 50-50.
Mm-mm. No, no, because if you're 50-50, that other 50%,
You want
like
it from them, right? Like you're trying to
yes.
take it from them.
Yeah, but really all they got to give you is half of their 50, which is really 25%.
25%. Oh my God. See, that's the problem with everybody. Because like one of the podcasts I was like listening to, I think we talked about it, where you're programming, like you're running on autopilot for what, like 5% of your brain, and then the rest of it's like 95% autopilot. So everyone's like running on 25% of their brain,
Yes.
right?
And think of how like vacant those relationships are when you're not giving your full 100% of yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Run into a lot of problems.
This is grown people conversations, right?
This
This is
is,
only
this
this
is,
is only for people who are ready to like take it on and like try it on in their lives.
yeah, yeah.
Vulnerability is some heavy ish, like Brene Brown talks about it, and
I
everyone
know.
should watch her Netflix special on
I love it.
vulnerability.
I love it.
So
She's
good.
got two. She's got two now, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
love the first one when she put that first one out, and that thing just blew up. She was just shocked how, that blew up so
Mhm.
quickly. And that was a huge thing of being vulnerable. People don't want to be vulnerable. People don't want to show the sides of themselves that they, are scared to reveal or hide or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's the programming, right? If I ask someone for help, that means people are going to perceive me as weak.
Yeah,
That's programming.
it is. It is. So we're going to debunk all of those programming and shed light on all of it. And that's why these weekly inspiring conversations are so beautiful. One story at a time, Sunrise. I love it. I love it. Anything else you want the people to know before we wrap it up? Because we can just keep talking forever. I don't know how much time you got, but I can just keep
I
talking.
know, I know. I don't know. I just think as people go into, Thanksgiving, I know that some people may have lost loved ones and, you know,
Yeah.
all that good stuff. And I think we said this last week. Just ask for the help, right?
Yes.
Ask for the help. And when someone offers a gift
Yes.
of come spend time at my house for the holidays,
Hmm.
accept.
Yeah.
You accept because,
Exactly.
that's that person also being vulnerable
Yeah.
by offering and saying, I see you, I see what you need, and I
Hmm.
want to be here for you.
Yeah. And
Don't, yeah.
yeah, and that's one great thing about my journey is that I've opened the door to my feelings and vulnerability. So when anybody calls me, like I said to you, probably off air, that I literally just start telling them, no, I don't feel good. No, I am depressed. No, I am going through this. And that's not who I am normally. So like it's not like they've ever heard that from me. So for them to hear that from me, they're like, oh my God, really? Like, wow, like the fact that you're actually fully in it, immersed in it, and expressing how hard it is for you now. I think it's also good because that's me reaching out to people. Like, I need help, you know?
Yeah.
And that's also like I reached out to, Monique and Lorraine and Courtney this weekend. I'm like, listen, I am shitty. Let me know if you guys are free. Let's get together.
Yes.
So that's how Saturday came about because I'm like, listen, I am in a hot mess. Like I need I need some time from you
You need to be
guys.
filled up and you need to like go to your electrical box,
Mm-hmm.
put your hands in, and whatever's there is going to like
Yeah,
feed and pour back into you.
exactly. And that's one beautiful thing also. Like I was talking to one of my guy friends, and we're always checking up on each other every so often, right? And he said that at one point, I think when I was doing my art shows in 2017-ish, he had a voice that told him, he's like, whatever Linda's doing, you need to support her. And that was
Mm.
a voice that told him this. And I was like, oh my God, really? He's like, yeah. So like when you tell me there's something you're doing, I'm there. The voice just told me like you have to support Linda, whatever she's doing, just support it. And so I was talking to him yesterday, just checking up on him. And he's like, yeah, like we have these conversations and I always feel so much lighter and happier after we talk and, you know, just have these conversations of enlightenment and, family and whatever, immigrants. And I was like, that's amazing that you feel this because that's how I feel when I talk to certain people, like you have that lightness out of it. You have this joy out of being present and talking to
Yeah.
like-minded people, really, too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Stay
One of the
plugged
next
in.
podcasts that I want to do, I actually wanted to talk to you because my friend is also going through that caretaker mode. So
Oh, okay.
I feel like that would be a good podcast too to talk about caretakers and how it affects you and everything as well.
Oh
Because
yeah, I'm down
she's
for
going
that.
through it now. Her husband just got
Mm.
full lung transplant.
Oh my God.
And then her mom and dad like died like years before that too. So it was like her dad died, her mom died, and then her husband was about to die and then needed lung transplant. So she's been on this like caretaker mode for such a long time. And then her body's like, starting to like
Mm-hmm.
do failing her because she's not focusing on herself.
With herself.
Yeah, so that would be a good podcast to talk about.
Oh, I'm down. That's a good one, and a lot of people need it.
Yeah, because I wanted to talk to her about, but she's not ready because she's going through it. But
Mm.
that's a hard thing, to
It is.
be there to go through it with that person.
I tell people it's like my mom wasn't the only person that had cancer. It was like everyone had it.
Yeah, everybody.
Now, it's not the same thing because she was physically going through what it felt like and the trauma and the emotional, but there's a residual experience of everyone around her because we're all just as worried as she is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a great conversation to have of how you experience that time.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yay! I
Love
will
it.
see you. I love you too. I'll see you on
Wait,
Saturday.
next week. Well, I'm leaving Wednesday, so if you have Monday or Tuesday, let me know.
Monday is my daughter's 18th birthday.
Oh my God, are you guys having a party?
She's
Something?
doing a brunch on Saturday here at the house. So we're literally setting the house up like a brunch spot,
Oh,
like she's in a club or something.
yeah.
Matter of fact, I got to hang up now and go to Party City
And start
uh,
getting decorations.
and start getting decorations. I'm just looking at my calendar.
Hmm.
Tuesday would probably be the better day.
Okay.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday?
My mom, yeah, my mom has a doctor's appointment. Let me see what time. And then it might be because you don't do anything after like 2, right? Because of the kids.
I can. That's fine.
Okay. It's just I might need to do it later in the day. That's
Yeah,
all.
that's fine.
Okay. So let's shoot for like 2.
Two? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, my
I
friend.
love it. Thank you so much, my friend.
You're
I'll see you
welcome.
tomorrow.
You mean Saturday?
Oh my God, yes, Saturday. I feel
I
like
forget the days of the week, so
I know,
please
I
don't.
feel like it's Friday already.
I wish it was, but no, it's not.
No, no. You gotta go to Party City.
I do. Oh, all right.
Do you have a lot to set up?
No, like they have like these kits, brunch kits. So I'm gonna get a bunch of them. They come with the balloons inside. I'll ask Party City to blow them up.
Yeah.
It's like those big balloon kind of bouquets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We'll have the big ones in the house. So when her friends come in, the streamers will be hanging down.
Yeah.
And then like mocktails, chicken and waffles, croissants, eggs, bagels, bacon, really everything will look like she's at a club. And then I won't have a DJ, but we'll have the music, and
Yeah.
all of her guests are wearing like winter white.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna buy them cute slippers for them to be in the house. They'll take pictures and Polaroids, and
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
I know, get ready.
It
You're right behind
sounds
me.
awesome. I love it. All right,
Mhm.
enjoy.
All right, bye, my
Bye.
friend.
Bye.